If you have PCOS, there's more to intermittent fasting than just deciding whether or not to do it. That's why I want you to stick around until the end so you can hear all 4 decision points that will make or break your intermittent fasting results. Hi, Richard here from CoachViva.com. For the best advice on how to be a badass body boss for life, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified of our videos every week. Before we begin, I want to quickly announce that a few spots have opened up for the free one-on-one consult for our badass body boss program. So make sure you stay until the end of this video for the announcement on that. Now let's get started.
What I'm about to share with you are the same 4 decision points we've run on our own PCOS clients. We answered them correctly and voila, they've seen great success. Decision point 1. What is your PCOS root cause? There are 3 main root causes of PCOS. Number 1 is stress or chronic inflammation. Number 2 is leaky gut. And number 3 is insulin resistance. Now you could have a multiple of them. If your root cause includes insulin resistance, then intermittent fasting is helpful. Otherwise, if it's these 2, maybe not so much. The best test for insulin resistance is the insulin assay with the oral glucose tolerance test. You can ask your doctor for it. That said, if you don't want to wait until you get the insulin assay test results back, then here are 3 deductive questions on whether or not to try intermittent fasting. First, do you have insomnia or trouble getting good sleep? If yes, that's the biggest bang for the buck thing to fix first. Intermittent fasting could further stress your body, leading to worsening PCOS symptoms otherwise. Next, do you suffer from a lot of digestive stress? And this also includes bloating and cramping on a monthly basis outside of your period. If yes, you may have a leaky gut. In that case, the biggest bang for your buck thing to do to fix is to fix your food quality. So that means things like reducing processed foods, identifying your food sensitivities, and avoiding those. And finally, if you're good on these last 2 questions, then most likely you have insulin resistance. And even a decrease of 5% in weight will significantly reduce your PCOS symptoms. If this is you, then proceed to the second decision point to further evaluate if intermittent fasting is for you.
Decision point number 2. What is your eating pattern? If your eating pattern is grazing throughout the day, then intermittent fasting is going to be helpful to you in 2 ways. By restricting your grazing to a limited time window, you reduce how many calories you're having throughout the day, which then causes weight loss. When you have long fasting periods in your day, your body gets a break from high insulin production. And this is something that your body is more prone to do if you have PCOS. This break is shown to reduce testosterone production, which in turn reduces PCOS symptoms like hyperfat storage, hair growth, etc. The degree to which this particular benefit exists is debatable, as research hasn't been conclusive. That said, the weight loss in my earlier point is certainly proven, which then reduces PCOS symptoms anyway. If grazing is your eating pattern, I suggest setting an eating window that excludes your peak grazing times. For example, if you tend to eat a lot of stuff late at night after dinner, then ending your eating window at dinner itself is a good idea. Or if you tend to graze between lunch and dinner, then create 2 disjointed eating windows that exclude your mid-afternoon grazing hours. Starting with the classic 16-hour fast and 8-hour eating window is a good idea. You don't need to do extreme things like 1 meal a day. You may enjoy the challenge for a few weeks, but you'll burn out, and which will regress all of the progress you made because you'll just quit because of burnout. And this brings us to the second eating pattern. If your eating pattern is to have a lot of calories in 1 meal, then intermittent fasting may not necessarily work for you. And by a lot of calories, I mean something like 600 to 1,000 calories in 1 meal as a woman. And the reason I say this won't work is because if you have a meal that's 600 to 1,000 calories each, you're already way over your calories, which means there won't be any weight loss. But if you're determined to try intermittent fasting, then a tactic to take is 1 meal a day. The 1 meal a day approach works by relying on your physical limits of how much you can eat in one sitting. And assuming you can't eat a whole day's worth of calories in one sitting, this means you will end up eating less than the calories for your maintenance and end up losing weight anyway. That said, this is quite extreme and not advisable for 2 reasons. If you exercise, then this can actually mess up your athletic performance because you won't be eating optimally around your exercise sessions. The second reason to not do one meal a day is if your massive meals are due to an underlying disordered eating or emotional issue. Because in this case, you have a root problem that the intermittent fasting or one meal a day is just going to be a band-aid solution for. You should see a counselor to figure out what is the root cause and solve that first. If these two reasons don't apply to you, then you could try one meal a day for a short time frame, like 30 days, and then ease back into a more moderate, like 16-hour fast, 8-hour eating window protocol. The goal during those 30 days would be 3 things. Number 1 is that it would reduce your gastric capacity. What this means is the size of your stomach would decrease such that optimal meal portions for your size would actually start to make you feel physically full. The second reason is learning the difference between hunger and cravings. This, I would say, is in fact the number 1 root benefit of intermittent fasting because it lets you identify your body signals more correctly once you go through it. Because so many of us don't actually know what true hunger feels like. And the third benefit of that 30-day is essentially a detox from sugar and processed foods. Your goal should be to avoid doing dirty intermittent fasting, that is eating mostly junk and sweets during your eating window. If you do this successfully over 30 days, your body will reset to being sensitive to too much sugar and junk, which should naturally cause you to crave fewer sweets and junk after those 30 days. And a last note on deciding on your eating hours. Most of us tend to skip breakfast as a way to reduce the eating window to 8 hours, but in fact, our bodies are more sensitive to insulin in the mornings. Meaning that if you ate the same meal for breakfast and dinner, your body will produce lesser insulin for the morning meal than for the evening meal, which means lesser fat storage and trigger for other PCOS symptoms. So I suggest you try to keep more of the morning meals in your eating window rather than optimizing for dinner.
Decision point 3, how to break your fast. Now, as Richard mentioned in decision point 2, you don't want to do dirty intermittent fasting, as in have most of your foods be from junk or sweets. Instead, you want to go for a balanced meal. And what this looks like is half a plate of veggies, typically, and you want the remaining half of your plate to be half protein, and either starchy vegetables, grains, other carbs. Now, if you want something sweet, you can have a fruit with your meal or a half a palm-sized portion of sweets. And drink 2 cups of water. If you're doing a 1 meal a day style fast, then have this type of balanced plate first. And after drinking 2 cups of water, eat another plate that looks like this if you're still hungry, or the junk and the sweets that you are craving. The key here is to give your body nourishment first before you go for the sweets. If you are someone who gets dizzy or a headache when trying to skip meals and need to have something during the 16-hour window, then go for a high-fat snack. MCT oil in coffee is a classic example here since it is low in carb and thus allegedly causes lesser insulin production. Lastly, continue to drink lots of water throughout the day. Remember, you're fasting from food, not water.
Decision point number 4, when not to do intermittent fasting at all. Number 1, if you suffer from disordered eating or emotional eating, then intermittent fasting is not going to help solve your root problem. You want to see a counselor to fix your root problems first. Number 2, if you get dizzy or have other bad symptoms as a result of skipping your meals. In this case, as Lucy said, you may want to go ahead and have a high-fat snack like MCT oil with coffee, or you can opt out of intermittent fasting altogether and have a proper balanced meal at all 3 or 4 times of the day. Number 3 is if you have insomnia or high stress. In this case, you are going to worsen your PCOS symptoms by doing intermittent fasting. Other cases in which you should avoid intermittent fasting include if you're taking medications like metformin, which a lot of women with PCOS take. The fasting while taking metformin could drive you to extremely low blood sugar, which causes a whole host of symptoms you don't want to have. And of course, if you're pregnant, then you probably also don't want to do intermittent fasting.
Your answers to these 4 decision points are make or break to your success with intermittent fasting. Most don't get it right their first time around, and it takes a lot of trial and error. Rich and I can help you cut through all that trial and error because we've coached over 100 clients at this point and can spot patterns to shortcut you to your correct answers. If you have PCOS and want to break free and live your dream life, then I've got good news for you. A few spots have opened for our free one-to-one consultation for our Badass Body Boss program. Why a consultation call first? Because Rich and I spend a lot of time with our clients to make sure they get to their goal ASAP and healthily. It means we can only take on a limited number of clients. The consultation call is to assess that the limited clients we do take on are a good fit with us. This means evaluating if you have goals that we can help with. Hint, the more specific and numerical your goal, the better we are for you. And if our personality and communication styles are right for each other. The success of any program isn't in the course or the material you get, but in the coaching quality. Richa and I have proven our quality to be the best if we are right fit. That's what this consultation call will suss out. If you have PCOS and want to break free to live your dream, go ahead and click on the link in the description below to book a one-on-one consultation for our Badass Body Boss program.
And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, be sure to subscribe and share this video with whoever else you feel could use this information. And be sure to check out these 2 videos to learn more about how to make progress for your body type and lose fat naturally and sustainably with PCOS. You can do it.